Hello and welcome to CEO Inside the Living Organization, an entrepreneurial organization. Today I have Wesley Ramjeet, and he is from PPMT Strategic Communication
Group,
right?
PPMT
Group.
Strategic Group.
Oh, PPMT Strategic Group. Okay,
Yeah.
we got it. He's the CEO and founder, and most of all, he's the Chief Entrepreneurial Officer. And this is what we're going to talk about today. How do we can create organization that where the CEO is not the only guy that's an entrepreneur and thinking for about new business opportunities and how to get more revenue. How do we get Wesley? How do we get everybody into this role?
So, after doing this for over 30 years, the answer is pretty easy. The execution is the issue. But as I said before to you, before, it was for me, because I invest in quite a few companies, and sometimes we take 100% ownership of the company. One of the things you have to figure out is how do you get your people to really run the companies without you being in every aspect of the business. Otherwise, you can't grow it, you can't scale it. So the answer for me was very simple. It's your interest has to be aligned, right? Because if you're an entrepreneur, a sole business owner, the economics aren't aligned. It means that off everybody's effort, you own 100% of the company. You get 100% of the exit value. You get 100% of the profits. So what I've done with all my companies that I've invested in or started, my team always have ownership in the company. So their interest is aligned with my interest. In addition to that, compensation is structured along that way as well. If they bring value, if the driver of the day is to find new sources of revenue, and they're able to do that, then they get additional compensation for that. If the goal is to hire more folks, then compensation has to follow performance as well. So those two things to me are the most important ones in my journey that has been successful, because people, employees, we call in all my companies, I look at them as family. If they have equity in the company, they start acting differently. Now it's no longer I'm watching the clock at 5 o'clock to get out of here. It's I need to get this done because it affects the company. It affects me. The value of what I have goes up if the company does well. And so those are two things that has really worked well for me.
Wonderful. Tell us one thing that is still challenging for you in terms of getting them. Let's say they do have equity, they have profit plan, but they're still not doing anything. What do you do with those guys?
Well, so I mean, those are very rare situations because we tend to do a very thorough job of screening people before we hire them. We would rather work twice as hard and not hire that person because we've experienced what that looks like, right? Because especially when you have a small team starting out, if your team is 10 people and 2 guys are not performing and not pulling their weight, that's 20% of your team. So usually the other 8 people would rather pick up that slack until we find the right person, right? Because they all know you have 2 guys, one, they're diluting me, and I'm doing their job. So we don't have a lot of those situations because we spend the time to really get the right people in and really screen them, do the diligence to make sure that it's going to work. Now, if we do find that, we'll try to counsel them, understand if there's an issue, look, if the person is having, personal issues, we'll help them figure it out, right? We've had situations like that. We had one person that was having issues with his medication, and so he wasn't. It was throwing his thinking off, right? And when you're a strategy guy, that doesn't work really well. So, but he didn't want to share it with anybody. But
Yeah, it's very
you know,
vulnerable. Yeah.
we sat down, we spoke to him, and he told us what the issue was. So we said, look, take a couple of months off, work with your therapist, work with your doctors, figure it out. When you're ready, you come back. And in this instance, he came back and he was actually better than he was before. And so, treating people as part of your as family is also very important, because that's how you build loyalty, right? If something happens and you just walk away, it sends a message to the rest of the team, right? It says that the company only wants me around when I can do stuff for them. But when I have an issue, I'm out, right? But if you stand behind your family, they do the same in return.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, um, give them the equity, make sure the performance management encourages them to earn more, and treat him like people, treat him like family or like your own, and work out the issues. And then if it still doesn't work, well, sure, you can support them to find another place. And of
Right.
course, it happens as well. Listen, I
But
really,
don't mistake me saying, we treat them like family, that we go, yeah, we don't expect a lot out of them, right? Because we expect a lot because we're giving up a lot, right?
yeah,
And look, I lead by example. I outwork almost everybody that's in any one of my companies, right? And I don't expect them to put in 16-hour days like I do, but I do expect them to perform at a level that is beyond like average.
yeah, yeah. No, I very much understand the expectations. If they're clear and people know what expected of them, they can either like raise to that level or decide to leave. But they know what expected of them, right?
Yes.
Wesley, I thank you so much today for your wisdom, and we're gonna have you again. We'll maybe raise the bar on you and ask you more difficult questions next time. Thank you so much.
Sounds good, Vitaly. And thank you for having me on.
It's my pleasure.